And great to have you with us on Yankees Hot Stove here on YesNetwork.com. Bob Lorenz, Tyler Kepner, Jack Curry, and Mark Feinsand as we talk about everything Yankees and Major League Baseball. And first of all, Hal Steinbrenner has come out and said basically the game plan for this offseason is the same as last offseason. Is that it in a nutshell?
I think it is, Bob. He re-emphasized the game plan that the Yankees have had recently when he talked at the owners' meetings in Dallas. And you heard Hal Steinbrenner talking more about Severino, Bird, Sanchez, Judge than you did hear him saying anything about Price, Greinke, Cespedes. We mentioned this on our last show. The Yankees are not swimming in those free agent waters in this offseason. And I think Hal Steinbrenner highlighted that again yesterday when he said, listen, I don't think you have to have a $200 million payroll to win. He said the Yankees will look at free agency, but when they have money coming off the books, that'll be after this year with Teixeira and Beltran. Or
a $200 million pitcher. But there will be Yankees fans, Mark, who say, well, what about David Price? What about somebody like that? You agree they're not swimming in those waters?
I do agree. Think about it. A $200 million pitcher for the Yankees is a $300 million pitcher with the luxury tax. So I think what Jack said, you look at the books right now, what was it? Chris Capuano, Stephen Drew, and Chris Young is all that came off this year. It's about $12 million. Next year, Beltran and Teixeira, you're looking at about $38 million. The year after that, you've got A-Rod and Sabathia, another $40 million or $45 million. This is not going to be the winter for them to go out and sign a $200 million free agent. That's not to say they won't do it again, but I think right now, Brian Cashman's going to have to get creative like he did last year with the trade for Nathan Eovaldi and Didi Gregorius. I think trades are where Cashman's focus is going to be this winter.
Right. I mean, they've made these moves before, you know, with mixed results. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But I think when you see the landscape of baseball, you see that, you know, payroll doesn't equal success all the time. I mean, a lot of the highest paid teams didn't make it very far this year, and the Mets and the Royals did. And they had to be down for a while, much longer than the Yankees would ever like to be down. I mean, the thought of, you know, many years under 500, like the Mets, the Yankees couldn't stomach that. But there has to be a better way than just spending on every free agent. You know, they've had periodic winners where they've done that. I mean, 2 years ago, they let Cano go, but they spent on a lot of other guys. They can't do it every winter. It's not a sustainable model.
All right, guys, let's talk about teams that will spend or players that will get the big bucks. Is the biggest story this offseason going to be what a player signs for or what a team does?
Ooh, that's a great question. I want to go back to what you asked Mark. I'm going to talk about a player, David Price. I don't think he's going to the Yankees. I think he's going to end up with the Cubs. So maybe I'm giving you a dual answer here. It's Price and it's the Cubs. I think after what the Cubs did last season, that there's some pressure on them now to continue to produce. They whet their fans' appetite with the way they performed last season. You've got the momentum. Keep that momentum going. To me, they're a team. 8 years for David Price. Go ahead and do it. I think with all these contracts, you're kind of wondering about years 6, 7, and 8. But I think now is the time to reunite Price with his former manager, Joe Maddon.
Right, I could see that, but I could see a battleground developing there with the Cubs and Cardinals, because the Cardinals still rule that division. They lost in the playoffs. They had a rough series there, but they won 100 games. They want to stay on top, and they have the need. You know, they're losing John Lackey. They already lost Lance Lynn. They've got some money coming off. Now, they've got to figure out right field, too, with Hayward coming back. But I would not be surprised at all to see the Cardinals make a play for Price. Now, in the end, they might do that and end up, you know, jacking up the price for the Cubs. So the Cubs make ultimately a bad decision for them, you know, with too much money. But I can really see the Cardinals getting in heavy on David Price.
The only thing I wonder, and I wonder what you think about this too, Mark, is that's not the Cardinals' way, right? The highest contract they've ever given anybody is what, Holiday? 7 for 120?
Right, 120, which
so
worked out.
Price, it has worked out.
Right.
Will they go 8 and 200 and who knows what for Price?
I think right now you look, the game is flush with so much cash. Teams have so much money that those models they've used in the past might not necessarily apply. To me, I'm just looking forward to seeing the number of guys who sign 100 million plus contracts. You look at Jason Hayward, Justin Upton, Jonas Cespedes, Price, Greinke. You've got a lot of guys out there. This is as top-heavy and big a free agent market as we've seen in a long time. And it's not just going to be saying, well, all right, well, the Dodgers will get one, the Yankees will get one, and the Cubs will get one. There's plenty to go around in this market, and it'll be really interesting, especially with the Yankees not in on these big guys, which teams step up and bring them in, because there's a lot of talent going around, and it's going to be for a lot of money.
Yeah, and really quickly, bottom line, how about the domino effect here, Mark? The fact that if Jason Hayward signs first and it's a big number, what does that mean for Cespedes and the other outfielders? If Price gets that big number, what does it mean for the other pitchers?
No question. Yeah. I think that's why the pitchers are all waiting for Price to sign. Greinke might be the only guy who has his own market as well. I think most people think he's going to wind up back with the Dodgers, but I think when you look at Greinke, okay, well, Greinke and Price get this. What does Cueto get? What does Zimmerman Ryan get? What does Chen get? And the same thing with the outfielders. All right, well, let's see what Hayward gets, and then we'll figure out what Upton and Cespedes and these guys get. And I think that's one of the reasons why Colby Rasmus took that qualifying offer, because on this free agent market, he was going to be the 4th or 5th best outfielder. A year from now, he could be 1 or 2.
That's a good point. All right, guys, if you want to hear more talk about all the news that the Yankees and other teams make throughout the offseason, tune in to Yankees Hot Stove only on Yes. Make sure to check YesNetwork.com for air times.